It took me a while to make this video, boys. I know, but I made it. I'm here. And we gotta hold off on the Civic build because we're waiting for parts. But the good news is we got some companies working with us on the Civic build, and I'm super excited. If you guys are new to the channel, this is my 8th gen 2010 Honda Civic SI, and she's getting a big old turbo slapped in her right now. We got the build series currently on the go. Got a Sidewinder manifold, big GT35 turbo front mount intercooler. This thing is gonna be an absolute ripper. But if you guys follow my Instagram, you guys would have seen the poll that I put up that I was finally gonna answer some of your guys' questions and make a video on it. And this is the first time I'm doing this, so let's do it. Before you guys click off this video, because this is a Q&A, and who wants to watch a Q&A video? It's probably pretty boring, right? Well, maybe mine won't be. I know I only have 3,000 subscribers, but maybe I'll have some motivational shit to say. I don't know. Depends what the questions are. I haven't really read them all yet. This is all of you guys asking these questions on a poll that I put up on Instagram. I wish I could have put one up on YouTube, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really know how. First question is from _Liam_Austin, and I will pop a picture of these on the screen over here somewhere so you guys can read along with me. Oh, this isn't even a question. Commented on your YouTube, we had a back and forth, decided to follow. Thanks, Liam, or Austin. You have 2 first names. I like that. I'm glad you decided to follow, and clearly that shows the benefit of responding to everybody. Every time you guys ask me a question in my DMs, in the comments, anything like that, I always do my best to try and reply to every single one. So thanks, Liam. I'm glad you're following along because this little thing right here is gonna be a ripper. Next question is from Jeremiah McMinn. If I butcher these usernames, I'm sorry, okay? That's why I'm putting them on the screen so that you guys can read them right up here. He asked, what motivated you to start YouTube? These are getting juicy already, I like it. This is a tough question because I feel like there wasn't a single individual thing that motivated me to start YouTube. It was just kind of always something that I wanted to do since I was probably about 12 years old. The first YouTuber that I ever watched, actually, believe it or not, was PewDiePie. And I guarantee if you're watching this, you know who that is because he's one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, aside from Mr. Beast. But I started watching him when he had like 5,000 subscribers. That was back when YouTube had the little brown icon that looked like a little old like box style TV with the dials and stuff on the side. I'll pop a picture up if I can find it. But that was literally when the first iPod Touch came out and YouTube was preloaded on the iPod Touches, and I started watching it and I saw him doing it, and it was video games at the start. And I thought that was cool because I used to game as a kid, and then as I got older, I got out of gaming, and now I'm trying to make a Honda Civic make 400 horsepower. Crazy how things change. So to give you guys a dead set answer, I guess, what motivated me to start YouTube was just the fact that I was making all these memories in my life. I was accomplishing all of these milestones and learning all these new things. And when I talk to people and explain them, it's just a memory. All you have is that memory in your head. But making YouTube videos, if you guys watched the channel, you would have seen last summer, we broke a 12-second quarter mile in the 500 horsepower STI hatchback that I built. And that is probably one of my favorite memories over the past 5 years of my life. And I get to go back and watch that video and relive that moment whenever I want. Every single time I watch that video, I still get a smile on my face. And I'm not even there anymore. That was a year ago almost now, and it still puts a smile on my face.
Let's go, baby! Fuck yeah! Woo! Let's go, baby!
Atta kid!
Woo!
Another reason I started YouTube is obviously I have a lot of influence from bigger YouTubers and other content creators. My biggest motivation is probably watching Devin Niemela's videos. That guy is an absolute tank. Like, that guy pumps out videos like crazy. He does it all by himself, other than his clothing brand he has help with now, but he started it by himself. And I'm not one to copy people. I'm always trying to come up with my own ideas. I guess for me, I just look at bigger content creators as inspiration for myself to come up with my own ideas. Obviously, I grew up watching TJ Hunt, Adam LZ, all those guys when they were small on YouTube, and watching them become what they are now is just absolutely insane. The endless possibilities that you have, even though it is such a saturated market now on YouTube, especially for automotive content, I still think it would be so cool to be able to do what you want every single day and just bring a camera. That's all you gotta do. Just film everything you're doing and have fun. Obviously, that's everybody's dream, but the reality of it is, it takes a lot of work to get there. And I have nothing but respect for those guys that have achieved so much on YouTube. It absolutely blows my mind now that I started doing it and I see how hard it is. Because a big misconception behind YouTube is everybody watches the videos and they just think, oh yeah, this guy's a millionaire. All he has to do is bring a camera with him. And yeah, I said it like that, but they don't realize how many hours and hours of of editing, developing new products for merch, creating websites, even just converting different files to make work with different websites, and just promoting your media and making sure you have good content to put out all the time, and always making sure that you have content to put out. It's pretty stressful, especially when you're working a 9-to-5 job. And another thing I missed is I'm actually a journeyman mechanic. If you guys are in the States, a journeyman mechanic basically just means that I am a licensed mechanic. So I went to school for 4 years to learn how to do this stuff. I can sign off on people's vehicles inspections to be legal on the road. I have my license as a mechanic. And I wanted to share that with you guys because there's a lot of shitty videos on the internet of people that are giving false information, and I just wanted to give my advice on absolutely everything I do on my cars and try and relay that information to you guys, if that makes sense. Okay, next question. That was too much talking. Oh, it's from the same guy, Jeremiah McMinn, if I got that right again. When did your love for Subarus start? He's asking a lot of throwback questions here. My love started for Subarus probably back in 2008. I was about 7 years old, and I used to watch a lot of WRC when I was a kid, and the first time I saw the 2008 STI hatchback go into rallycross, I saw that car and I instantly told myself, I am buying that. When I'm 16, I'm buying an STI hatchback. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make as much money as I can so that when I get my driver's license, I can buy that car. Then Ken Block had it in his Gymkhana video. Travis Pastrana started driving the STI hatchback in, I can't remember what video it was, but I saw him in it when I was younger. It was a long time ago. And I just fell in love with it right away. That was my dream car. So yeah, that's why I fell in love with Subarus. It honestly wasn't even the sound like everybody else. They're like, oh yeah, Boxer Rumble. My car is equal length headers already. I don't even really care about the Subi Rumble. Yeah, it's sick. I just like the drivability of them. And the all-wheel drive is insane in Subarus. And if you guys have ever been in a Subaru, it is just a driver's car. The 6-speed transmissions in the STIs are the best transmission I think I've ever driven with, I guess you would say, or bang gears in, same thing. But yeah, that's where my love for Subaru started. Next question is from Ezekiel_935, aka Zeke. He used to work with me when I used to be a technician at Toyota. What would you do if the Subi's engine blew? Well, I would rebuild it, for one. For two, we'd make it make all the sauce. Right now, that car is making 512 wheel and 420 torque, I believe. And that's Mustang dyno numbers on pump gas, 94 octane. If I blow the engine in that car, we're going full send. We are getting brand new case halves. We're gonna get them closed decked, firalock rings, 1/2-inch head studs, get the block main pinned. We're gonna do the whole 9 yards, which is actually gonna be a part of a company that I work with in Alberta here called Ronin Performance. They probably build the best Subaru engines in Canada, I'd have to say. Colin, who is the owner, is so knowledgeable. He actually blows my mind every single time I go there. And I'm actually a sponsored driver for them this summer. I'm gonna be racing for Ronin Racing. So if you guys go to the track in Alberta, I'll see you guys there. This summer, all the Tuner Bash events, I'm gonna try and come out to every single one that I can, given that the STI doesn't blow up, which it didn't last year, so let's cross our fingers. Then I'll also be getting my heads built. So I'll be doing probably some BC 280s, get some big boy cams in there, or Kelfords, haven't decided which brand yet. We'll get springs, we'll get new locks, we'll get retainers, new guides, we'll get some upgraded valves. I don't know what oversize we're gonna go with, or if I'm gonna oversize them, or what kind of valves I'm gonna do yet. I haven't decided. But that thing is gonna be built to the tilt if I blow it up. Like, I'm not sparing any expense on that block. And she's going strictly E85. Next question is from Opie257. That's funny, I just talked about you. This is Colin. He is the owner of Ronin Performance. So if you guys want to check Ronin Performance out, I will put a link to their Instagram down in the description. Do you plan on taking your Subaru to a full race car level? If you did, how much power? I kind of just explained that. I don't ever plan on taking my STI to full out race car, stripped interior, drag slicks, all that kind of stuff. Because if I could describe this in a good way, I would, but I can't really. That car's just my car. Like, it's just me, if that makes sense. That's the car that started it all for me. That's the car I started making YouTube videos on. The first car I pulled an engine on. The first engine that I ever ripped apart. The first set of coilovers I ever installed. The first brake job I did. The first time I pulled a diff, a transmission. Like, literally the first time I did anything was on that car. And I learned so much from it. So I feel like that car for me will always be my car. It's always gonna be streetable. It's always gonna be fully legal for the road, because in Alberta we don't have emissions, so yes, it is still legal for the road. And it's always gonna be a street car. Yeah, it might be an 800 horsepower street car, but it's still gonna be a street car, because that's my car. Hopefully you guys understand that now. Next question is from oh god, this is a tough one. Shekotko7? I murdered that. I'm sorry. That is so bad. Opinion on 1992 Mazda Proteges. A good daily? A good winter beater? I don't know. I've never owned one, honestly. Next question is from Mr. Rayu. This question is from Cody. Cody's my boy. How do you continue to stay passionate even when things don't turn out as planned? This is actually a really good question. And the biggest thing I'm gonna say is discipline. That explains it all in one word. People compare motivation and discipline all the time, but in my opinion, motivation is something you have when you want to do something. Motivation is kind of a word that goes hand in hand with passion. When you're passionate about something, you're gonna be motivated to do it no matter what. But if something goes south, like on a car, say, I get the Civic running and the motor blows up, then what? That motivation's not gonna be there anymore because something failed and you failed at what you were trying to do. But discipline is what makes you be able to accomplish your goals, if that makes sense. Because like I said, if something goes wrong, something gets wrecked, and now your confidence is at an all-time low, you just think, screw this, I don't wanna do this anymore, I'm done. Discipline is what's gonna make you complete that task. Because discipline is getting something done no matter what it takes. Even though you don't want to do it, you know that you have to get it done if you want to achieve your goal. So I probably sound like a broken record. People have probably said that like a million times. But that's how I stay passionate. Because being disciplined keeps the passion alive. Because you keep doing what you're doing consistently and you'll stay passionate about it. This one is from STI_kid98. What turbo are you running on the STI and why did you choose that manufacturer? On the STI right now, we have a Garrett GTX 3576. It's the dual ball bearing turbo. I believe that turbo's good up to about 700 wheel. The reason I chose a Garrett turbo was honestly for the longevity of it. Precision turbos are good, and even journal bearing turbos for street car applications are a good option. Yes, ball bearing turbos are a little bit more expensive, but the reason I went with Garrett turbos was because they run coolant through them. And STIs from factory are turbo cars, so they have the coolant lines already set there for you to run to the turbo. Even though I looped my system with the expansion tank delete, when you have a turbo that runs coolant through it, it actually cools the center cartridge down a lot more. You don't get that hot oil that gets coked in your turbo, and it doesn't destroy your seals when you shut off the car. With a journal bearing turbo like a Precision, and yes, I know Precision does have ball bearing turbos, but in a journal bearing turbo like that, when you're just running an oil feed or in a ball bearing turbo with only an oil feed, if you shut that car off and the oil is hot as hell, that oil is just gonna sit there super, super hot and not keep flowing through the turbo. It's gonna wreck your seals, it's gonna wear the bearings out. And yeah, just cut and dry, that's basically why I got a Garrett turbo. They're also one of the biggest turbo manufacturers on the market, so I knew it would be a good purchase. And I wasn't gonna have issues like buying an eBay turbo kit like this one might have, because that is definitely an eBay turbo kit. Next question is from Colby Hadley. If you could go back in time, would you build your Subi again or buy a different car to build? That's a tough question. I try to live my life with no regrets. I know it sounds stupid. It sounds like that scene from We're the Millers.
No regrets.
And that car taught me so much. So I'm gonna say no. I would not buy a different car to build. I would definitely build my Subaru first. Yes, that car put me in a financial hole for a while. That's why it's taken me so long to get all the parts for the Turbo Civic. But I don't regret any of it. That car taught me so much. And it literally made me the mechanic that I am today. If I'm giving advice to you guys, if you're super, super passionate about Subarus, build one. Do it, who cares? Do what you wanna do what makes you happy. Next question. This question is from Ganj_legacy. What's your end goal for the channel? Man, you guys are asking some tough ones here. Let me explain.
My end goal for the channel is this: to be able to build fast cars and have fun doing it every single day.
And if I'm being honest here, that was the entire reason I started making YouTube videos in the first place, is to help you guys out and to have fun building cars every single day of my life, get feedback from you guys, all that fun stuff. So the end goal for my channel is to be able to do something cool every single day for the rest of my life building cars. And whatever else. I could go snowboarding, dirt biking, just anything. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head, but anything. And I look at YouTube as an avenue for me to be able to do that, if that makes sense. I live in Alberta, Canada, and in Alberta, everyone looks at me like a zombie when I'm walking around with a camera because nobody here does it. You go to California, it's like weird to see someone not walking around with a camera. And here, I am the only person when we go to the track walking around with a camera vlogging. And everyone looks at me like I'm weird. So, I still work a 9-to-5 job. And working that 9-to-5 job is enough to pay bills, honestly. It's enough to, if you have a house, to cover your mortgage, cover your car payments, cover your utility costs, cover your food, cover all your daily life expenses. I started a YouTube channel with the goal of being able to make enough side money to fund my fun projects and share my fun projects with you guys. And that's why I started the merch brand Something Cool. And if you guys heard me say to do something cool every day for the rest of my life, that's why I started the company. So if you guys want to support, the website is either live or is about to go live to get your own Something Cool hoodies. If it's live, I'll put a link in the description. If not, go follow the Something Cool Instagram. I will also have that linked in the description so you guys don't miss out when the website goes live. Because these have been selling out pretty quick, to be honest with you. Next question is from Jordan Miller. You got an FMK, Colton, Duncan, or Jordan, which you... Oh, if you guys know what FMK means, I'm not gonna say it out loud. This is an inside joke with the boys that I used to work with at Toyota. I shouldn't even put this in here, but I think it's funny, so I will. But I'm not gonna answer the question. I just thought that was funny to include that in there, because for some reason, Jordan thinks he's a comedian. Next question is from Luke_Schmidt_XD. He said, how to get a Subaru prepped for tuning? That is a big question. I'm gonna name off your baseline checks that you should do right now. Boost leak test your car. If you guys watch videos, you would have seen the dyno videos and you would know I dealt with boost leaks on the dyno like crazy because I didn't boost leak test my car because I don't have a boost leak tester, but I ordered one, it is coming. So Matt Lee, if you're watching this video, no more boost leaks next time I come to the dyno. Next thing, if you just did a fresh engine build or your engine's got high mileage on it, compression test it. Make sure that your engine is healthy before you go to the dyno. Try and slam a whole bunch of power that that engine has never seen before into the car. It's just a safe bet to make sure that your engine's 100% healthy. Another secondary to that is to do a leak down test. If you do a leak down test, you will make sure that all your valves are sealing. Even though if you have excessive leak down, you're probably gonna see that in your compression test anyways if there's a major issue. And this isn't so much getting the car prepped for the dyno, but bring some tools to the dyno with you if your tuner is gonna let you mess around with some stuff on the car while it's on the dyno. If they're not gonna let you and you just have to drop the car off, they're gonna tune it and get it back. Just give the car a good once over. Make sure all your bolts are tight and torqued. Make sure everything on your kit or whatever you installed is solid, and make sure you got heat wrap in places where heat wrap should be. Because on the dyno, your car is gonna see the most heat it has probably ever seen. Your car is driving stationary with barely any wind blowing into it. All there is fans. So it's not like the real outside environment. So make sure wherever there's gonna be a heat issue on your engine, you have everything properly protected. Two more things I'm gonna mention about getting your Subaru prepped for the dyno. One, get a wheel alignment done. There's nothing more that a tuner hates than a car that has a terrible alignment and just walks all over the place on the dyno. It's absolutely terrifying to even sit in the car when it does it. Even though they're strapped down, get a wheel alignment done on your car. Second thing, make sure you don't have exhaust leaks. If you have exhaust leaks underneath the car, it's gonna be blowing exhaust out onto the dyno, and exhaust is obviously very, very hot. If there's anything on the dyno that could get melted, that's just, a tuner just doesn't want that happening. Especially if you have a pre-turbo exhaust leak, that's not good. So you can smoke test your exhaust system if you have a smoke tester, but most people don't have that. So my advice, run your car, take your hand, put it over your exhaust tip, completely seal it. Put a rag or something or a heat resistance glove, completely seal it. Have someone walk under the car and listen for hissing. Make sure you take your hand off the pipe every like 5 seconds or so, or 10 seconds, just to release that pressure, and then put your hand over it, cover it, seal it up again. That's the poor man's smoke test, and it just creates back pressure and then it'll leak out of wherever it's leaking. Last thing is just check for leaks. You don't want to have your car leaking fuel, oil, coolant, anything on a dyno. Make sure your car has no leaks going to the dyno, because honestly most tuners won't even let your car on the dyno if it has a leak. And that kind of is not really just for Subarus, that's just like a general I'm taking my car to the dyno prep list for everybody. Here's another question. This one is from Damon Nash7. What got you into Subarus? I already answered that one. I'm not gonna go over that one, but thanks for asking a question, Damon. Next one is from Portuguese.subi. And they asked, what is the car culture gonna look like in, let's say, 20 years? Wow, 20 years. That's a long time. When I worked for Toyota, Toyota said that in 2050, they wanted their entire vehicle lineup to be electric. That was the news I got, and I didn't like it. Obviously, being a car enthusiast, you love the sound of turbos, you love the sound of internal combustion engines. It's the history behind it. It's what we all grew up on having fun with. So in 20 years, manufacturer wise, I think there's gonna be a lot of electric cars. I think that's the way the industry is going. Or hydrogen fuel cell is another thing that they're starting to come up with. So as for the manufacturer side of car culture, I think they're really gonna start going away from internal combustion engines, which is sad, but here's the positive. In Alberta, I think it's physically impossible to run electric cars all year round. People are already seeing it with the Ford Lightning, Teslas, all that stuff. There's barely any of them in Alberta because our minus 35 winters kill those cars. It drops the estimated kilometers from like, I don't know, maybe let's say 600 kilometers to one charge in a Tesla, goes down to like 200, 150, because it's so cold. Batteries operate at 25% capacity in freezing temperatures. And minus 35 is definitely freezing temperatures. Like the 12 volt battery in my car barely starts the car, let alone having all those whatever 800 volt batteries trying to power an entire vehicle to move. As for the car culture with like shows and the community and everything like that, I'm starting to see more and more stance cars, to be honest with you. And I'm a big performance guy. I love everything on my car to work and make the car work better than factory. That's the way I modify cars. I'm not a big stance boy with like negative 37.2564 degrees of camber. I just like my car to go fast and I like it to work, not scrape every time I pull into parking lot. That's why my Subaru's not super low. I like to give it a little track stance, make it look good. But I see a lot more people just really looking for clout on Instagram, on YouTube, on anything, like just slamming a car to the absolutely to the ground so the exhaust is literally scraping off as you drive away. And another thing that comes with that is showboating. And I shouldn't even be talking about this because it's such a sensitive topic, but takeovers are insane right now. And in 20 years, I only see it getting worse. Kids growing up nowadays, I'm only 22, I'm still a kid, I'm a young adult. And I see all these people my age that just go to meets and just are doing burnouts and donuts and everything like that on the road. And they're just ruining it for everybody. We're getting exhaust laws now in Alberta, which I know in California and everywhere else in the world, obviously it's super strict, but in Alberta, we had none of that. Now everyone is absolutely destroying the car scene here. They're doing burnouts, they're doing donuts on the road, they're drifting on public roads. Like, guys, there's a time and a place to do it. If you're gonna do it on the street, I'm not saying I've never done it on the street, but I don't do it in the middle of a busy intersection and block off intersections to do this shit. Go out in the middle of nowhere on a paved road where there's absolutely nobody and it's a safe place, or go to the track. Yes, tracks are expensive, but unfortunately, we're talking about cars here. You gotta pay to play. So there's my little rant on that. I think car culture in the next 20 years is only gonna get worse, to be honest with you. So that's why I really like the YouTube platform for people to try and give a positive influence on the next generation coming up in the car community. And that's part of my goal, making YouTube videos. Next question is from AB_EcoBeast. Will you buy a 2023 WRX? More horsepower with little mods. No, I won't be buying a 2023 WRX. Maybe one day, very far in the future, but the shorter answer is no. And I don't know about the more horsepower for less money thing because there's not much development on the FA24 turbos yet. There will be in the future, but as of right now, no, I have zero plans of buying a 2023 WRX. But one thing I will say is the WRX wagon, the winter beater that we just finished building, which I actually want to make a montage video on building that whole car, is for sale. I am selling that car because I'm ready to move on to the next build. Actually, I'm not even really ready to move on to the next build. I want to take more of my time and focus it on the Turbo Civic and getting my STI 100% perfect. So I want to get a reliable daily driver that is just turnkey and go. So let me know your guys' opinions. I've been looking at Corolla hatchbacks. I would get a GR Corolla if I had the money. I want one so bad. They are so sick. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think I should get as a daily in the comments once the WRX is sold. Okay, this is the very last question I'm gonna answer. This video is probably enough of me talking already. And I'm gonna throw this in there just because my buddy Stefano, who is one of the techs at Ronin Performance, told me to toss this in there. He said, opinion on rep wheels. I have a very set opinion on rep wheels. If you're building a car for performance and you actually need a good quality, lightweight, durable wheel, don't buy reps. If you have the money for real wheels, get real wheels. But if you have a $3,000 clapped out piece of junk, why are you spending $4,000 on TE37s for your 98 Honda Civic that's rusted out in the rear quarters? I just think it's not worth it. But where I think rep wheels do belong is for people that want to build their cars, they want to change the look of them, they want to make their cars look a little bit better than factory, and they're not on a budget for buying real wheels. If it's just a daily driver, sure, buy reps. Honestly, if you just want to make your car look better, buy rep wheels. Why spend $4,000 on a brand new set of TE37s when you can buy some knockoffs that basically make your car look the same and it's just a daily driver anyways? So yes for daily drivers, and if you're on a budget, don't buy rep wheels if you're building a track car and you're spending a whole bunch of money. Get real wheels. Or if your whole thing is stance and show car, you better have real wheels, because if you're putting reps on your car for a show because the look of your car is what you're trying to Whoa. It's not cracked, we're good. Because the look of your car is the whole reason behind you taking it to the show and trying to win an award or something, you better have real wheels. You should not be at a car show with a stance car on rep wheels. You should also not be making 800 horsepower or even 500 horsepower for that matter at the track on rep wheels. There's my opinion on that. The other question Stefano asked me was why Subaru? I still ask myself that all the time, honestly. But they're fun. So what can you do? All right, that is gonna be it for this video. If you guys liked the Q&A, make sure you leave a like button, make sure you guys are subscribing, all that fun stuff, so you don't miss out on the Turbo Civic build once we get parts, which is what we're waiting on. But I'm excited. Okay, peace out you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Very over dramatic exit.